What's up YouTube, this is your boy Alex and thanks for tuning in. This episode is actually going to be kind of cool because I'm going to be going into the back end of my stats, and my tracking, and my trades to kind of show you guys what it takes to be a profitable trader. Also, if you can just take a second, click that like button. It does help my channel keep growing and I really do appreciate it. What's up everyone? In this video I'm going to be going over things that I really don't show to a lot of people because, well, one, it's pretty boring. Not many people want to hear about how difficult it is and all the grind and hustle it actually takes to become a profitable trader. And right after that I'll get into the recap of all the trades I did this week, so stay tuned. Okay, let's not waste any time. So this is the week of March 30th through April 3rd. So on the 30th I had a $444 loss, and this was me scalping again. And I know I said that I'm not going to be scalping anymore and that I'm done with doing that and I'm just not going to touch that account in F1 trade, but I thought that maybe I could still do what I've been doing and just short the same patterns, except I'll just use this account. However, what I found out is executions on F1 trade, at least for shorting, are very slow, and it's almost impossible to get filled at the price you want when a stock is SSR. So what happened is I kept missing my trades. I kept missing the execution that I wanted, and what happened is I just got so pissed that I went and found other stuff to trade that wasn't really an ideal setup, and basically I just ended up running myself down with a bunch of scalps and ended up losing actually quite a bit, $444. After Monday, I realized how stupid I was again to just fall back into the trap of trying to gamble and not really going off of statistics and not going off of my proven edge. On Wednesday, I had a $757 day, Thursday, $863 day, Friday, $387 day. And what this shows you guys is, like, clearly something I'm doing that's working, right? So why in the world am I going back to the same crap that doesn't give me any results and, well, results in actually losing money? Every single loss here, except for one of these, is all basically me trying to scalp with my F1 trade account. So I'm losing money that I shouldn't be losing because I'm not sticking to the edge that I have. However, what I did do though is, because I still really want to learn how to do longs, and so what I figured I'm going to do is I'm going to basically learn how to do them the same way that I learned how to short, and that was with stats, that was with testing and refining. So I set up a paper trading account and I'm going to be tracking all my trades, basically collecting a bunch of data and looking for something that I have in common with all of them that I can create some kind of rules to, you know, a certain pattern. And then I'll be able to take very statistical trades and actually know why or why not I'm winning or losing on them. But that's something that once I have a little more data I'll be able to share with you guys and just kind of show you what I've been doing with that. So for the week total, including the last 2 days of March, I'm up $1,563, and then on the month of just April I'm up $2,000. So I mean, these stats don't really mean that much just because it's only been a couple days of trading, but so far win rate's 100%, average winner is $748, and then I've taken 2 trades on first red day setups and then 1 trade on a bounce short. And as you can see here, here's the total: 1685 for the first red days and 561 for a bounce short. Again, these don't really mean that much just because it's just the beginning of the month. Now, if you're a trader, you've probably been asked this, and if you're not a trader, you're the one asking this question, and is trading gambling? Is it just kind of like a educated bet, kind of like just going to the casino or whatever? And my answer to that is it can be, and for a lot of people it is. And you know, statistically 90% of traders obviously fail, and that's because they are gambling. And what I mean by that is that they don't do anything mathematically or scientifically, you know, statistically. They're just taking a guess on, like, hey, I think this is a good company and it's going up, so I'm going to buy it. When in reality, that's not what it takes to be a profitable trader. And it wasn't until I started taking things to the next level and actually really diving in and really doing the back end testing that I was able to actually find an edge and become profitable. And this is what I'm actually going to show you guys here. So back in September was really my turnaround point, and the reason is because of all this data. Basically, up until September, I was trading. This was already like my 10th month in of trading, and I kind of started seeing a pattern that I thought actually worked well. So what I did was I started tracking this one pattern. I tracked every single time that this pattern came up in the market. And that's a lot of tracking, that's a lot of numbers, that's a lot of data that you have to run. But that's what it takes to be a profitable trader. It's not easy. You actually have to do the boring grind to be able to find an edge. So I started tracking probably July is when I started actually tracking it, and then I started actually taking trades on it in September. But as you can see here, like this is all the data I have on this pattern, and this is just over time. And then this is just the stuff on the small cap ones, and then this is all the pattern, all the times it occurred, you know, with mid caps and then with large caps. As you can see, this pattern doesn't happen very much or very often with large and mid caps, and it happens quite a bit with small caps. And so using this data, I basically came up with what I needed to know to be able to trade this pattern and be able to be profitable on it. And tracking this, I found that, you know, over the course of half a year, 88% of the time this pattern works out, and you get an average return of 23.83%. I mean, that's if you can capitalize on the full move. And so that's what I needed to be able to trade this pattern. After you find your edge like this, after you have a pattern that you know works over months and months, then you can start refining and, you know, figuring out when you need to enter, when you need to exit, and things like that. But the most important part is first just focus on one thing, find one edge, and that's all you need to start being profitable. The way I see it, trading is basically like a science project. When it comes to you know, being consistent, you need to, one, recognize a thesis. So you look in the market, find something that you kind of see, and that you see that, hey, that this could be a pattern, this is something that, you know, I might have an edge in. Come up with a thesis, right? And then what you need to do is you need to start tracking that. After you track that, you need to start testing it. And after you do that, then you'll be able to have a legit strategy that actually works, that's tested over time, and not just something that you pops up in the market today and you're like, this looks good, I'm gonna buy it. You know, that does not work. Okay, now let's dive into the recaps of my trades from this week. Okay, so on Wednesday, I'm not gonna go over the scalping from Monday because it's pointless. There's just too much stuff going on there and it doesn't make sense. But on Wednesday was OMI for a $757 win. My entry was 838, exit was 767.3 for an 8.44% win, and this was the first red day setup. So if you look here at the daily chart, 3 months, it had, I mean, this wasn't a very big run, but it had this day that I gapped up and ran, and then it ran a following day, but it did close week, so that's kind of considered like a pre-red day. No, this wasn't like too, you know, like a huge run, but it still was extended from $5 to $10, so it's a 100% move. So I was looking for some backside, and this day was red. It was closing week, so that's why it showed me that, you know, it was starting to fail. So here's the run. It back when it started, gapped up, ran up to 9, pulled back, then recovered and kept going higher. And then the following day, gapped up again, but it panicked in the morning. But then it kind of recovered its gains a little bit. So what I was looking for the following day is basically, if it gapped down, I would look for any kind of spike into resistance and then a short into that. Okay, so in the morning it was gapping down. So I always wait for the open because you never really know what's going to happen at the open. But I don't remember exactly how much it was gapping down, but then I saw this like panic right into the open. I'm like, crap, like this is going too far down. I better get some kind of spike. And so I was just patient at the open. I saw this spike from, I mean, it dropped to basically $8, and then it spiked to $8.70, pulled back a little bit, started grinding a little bit higher, and then once I started seeing this fail, I went in full size, risking this high of day. And so this was very nice because I got in, what was it, 838, right? Yeah. I got in 838 and I was risking 870, so that's like a 5% risk. So, you know, for me, that's pretty decent risk. So that's why I was able to go in full size. And then it just, you know, pulled pretty hard. And I was patient and I was waiting for it. It tested this $8 quite a bit, which was, I was a little nervous about because I thought it might end up holding and, you know, rebounding, but it broke through here really quick, but then recovered, bounced, and then just sat at this $8 level for a while, and then it finally had actually a really nice pullback from 8 all the way down to 755. So then I started covering in these dips, and as you know, once I started seeing this start rebounding and holding this 750 level, I just covered my full position. So this was a really good trade. You know, executed very well. Was very patient with my entry. Waited for the spike to start failing. Got in, and just held. And great covers. I really captured the full move here. So that was very nice. Now Thursday was ATHX, again, also a first trade day setup, and this is something I was waiting for a while because this had a very nice run. I made 863 bucks on. But what sucks is that I really didn't capture the whole move. I literally got like a tiny piece of it, and it pissed me off because I was just so impatient. But anyway, my entry was 388.1, exit was 351.8 for a 9.35% win. Basically, it started having a run down at the beginning of March. It was coming up from like $1.50 and started slowly just kind of grinding its way up, and then it really started moving end of March at like $2, and from $2 it squeezed all the way to 438, and I was just sitting on my hands waiting for the first time it would start gapping down, because this was overextension that I was looking for. As you can see, it got pretty extended and then just completely just blew out its extension here on this previous day that I played it. So I was looking for a gap down the next day, and any kind of failure that would indicate that this trend is starting to go down. So gap down here, pre-market. So this move right here, right into the open, from 360 up to 405, this scared me. That's pre-market. That's a big move on this particular stock. So that got me worried. So that's why I didn't have exactly the best entry, and I was scared to get into this bounce because I was like, man, because I've seen this before on VXRT like a couple months ago, where I was gonna short it, and then I got in pre-market on this nice little gap down, and then it, like in a minute right before the open, it squeezed really hard and ended up just spiking in the morning like hard, and so I got squeezed on that, and so I had to cover for a loss. But man, yeah, so this freaked me out because I've seen this before. But either way, it couldn't hold this pre-market little squeeze, so then I just panicking all the way down 365. So once I started seeing this rebound start failing, piled in, and I was basically trying to shoot for 350 because there was support here in the 330, 340, 350 area. So that was my goal. But I screwed this up so bad. Like, I was not patient. Ended up just kind of grinding down. It was just grinding slowly. It wasn't really cracking or anything. And then I covered here at 350. I don't even know why. Like, such a stupid cover. I think I just saw the profit and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to take a single. And that was dumb. Like, when trade is working, you're in the driver's seat. Let it work. Cover when level 2 in the chart and price action show you to cover, not because you hit a certain dollar goal. Like, that's dumb. As you can see, covered here at 350, and it pulled 325, pulled to $3, had a decent rebound, pulled to 254, 50 or whatever, and then at lowest point was 236. I missed out on this like 40% move. I captured 9%, and I could easily have gone like 20%. So I completely screwed this up, and it's my own fault because I wasn't patient. I didn't let level 2 and price action guide me through the trade. I saw the dollar amount and my unrealized profit, and I was going off of that instead of the chart, so I paid for that mistake. And then on Friday, I traded Ecor for a $387 win. This one was kind of a tough one to trade because it was choppy, so like there's only a few things I would have done differently. Either way, still made money. Entry was 119.2, exit was 109.8 for a 7.89% win. The borrows were expensive, so that's why my realized profit was pretty small. But I was actually ready for this trade because I knew what was going to happen after this. It had this run here. As you can see on the daily, on the 30th of March, it basically from 45 cents all the way to 240. Crazy move. This was a lot. I think it was up like 1,000% if I'm not mistaken. But it was really tough to trade it on the day because there was just a bunch of halts. But in the morning it did nothing. It was at like 45 cents the whole day. It started going up, squeezing, and then just halted. Every single time it opened, halted right at, So, I mean, I don't trade this kind of stuff. Like, I'll wait a couple days and then I'll trade it when there's an opportunity to trade it. But on this day, when I traded it, you can see actually the night before, after hours, it had a nice gap or squeeze. And, this is just a classic bounce short, honestly, just into resistance, and you just short it. And it faded all pre-market, so that was a good sign for a short. I could have played this a little differently. I should have probably entered into this spike, and I would have had a better entry and less stress. But what if I got on here at like $1.35 or whatever, but it kept going to $1.75? I can't risk that much. That's way too much to risk. So I basically waited for this spike to fail, and then I got in on the bounce. This sucked though because the bounce wasn't really that big. I got in like 120, and it only pulled to $1, I think $1.05 or $1.06. So yeah, there's like 10% that you can make on this pull. So and then it squeezed all the way back to its high before it ended up crashing or just kind of grinding back down the rest of the day. But what I did wrong was I think I just went a little too big here, because if I went in $1.20 and risk is $1.40, and I had $7,000-8,000 position on it. So I would have, if this broke, I would have lost $1,500. Yeah, the only thing I would have done is, because my entry was so low, is I should have taken a smaller position, maybe like a $5,000 position, and risking $1.40, because I was a little bit stressed because of this bounce, and it just so. But other than that, like, it was just very choppy. So there's not much else. I think I played it fairly well, and just happened that it didn't give me more. So that was my week. Honestly, not anything special, not anything crazy. The only trade that I really nailed was on Wednesday. I got the whole move, made good money on it. And then Thursday's trade I completely botched. Just because of greed and impatience. And then Fridays was just too choppy, honestly, and there's nothing you can do about that. So I'm hoping next week that I can trade a lot better. I'm hoping to really nail some moves next week, and we'll kind of see how things go. So stay tuned, guys, and thank you for tuning in. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.